public hearing. All right, I'll open up this meeting for public comments. Yeah.
This is the public hearing on the budget.
Public hearing.
Oh, it's on the budget. Okay, this is on the budget. Okay.
I care, so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President and members of the Hamilton County Council. I appreciate the opportunity to address you this evening. My name's Lori Kaplan. I'm the Executive Director of the Central Indiana Regional Transportation Authority, or for shorthand, CIRTA. Hopefully I'll take less of your time by using that shorthand. First of all, I do want to thank Hamilton County for providing support to CIRTA over the last decade or so. And I wanted to take this opportunity as you're reviewing your budget and as it moves through the final process to make sure that you're aware of all of the services that are provided by CIRTA, a little bit about our history, and then I'm here and available to answer any questions that you might have. I did pass out information to the council members. I might have missed one or two, and I can provide that after the fact. So a little bit about what CIRTA is and what our history is. We were formed by the Indiana legislature in 2004. We are a government entity. We're comprised of 10 counties, which is Marion County, all of the contiguous counties, including Delaware and Madison. And our board has 17 members, which includes a representative of each one of the counties that are in our covered by our footprint. And historically, although Hamilton County has one official seat on our board, historically we've had 2 seats occupied by representatives of Hamilton County. And I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. Interestingly, when the Indiana legislature created CIRTA, they did not create a budget for it or fund it. So we have looked at other sources to fund what our mission is and to accomplish our goals. So what do we do and what do we see ourselves as? And one of our major functions at this point is to fill in gaps that exist with transit options that are available for both employers and residents of our area. As you may know, for our rural, what we call rural transit systems, like Hamilton County Express, they're funded through grant dollars. Those grant dollars restrict them from crossing county lines to transport their customers, if you will. So if somebody needs to cross county lines to go to a doctor's appointment, to visit a family member in a medical facility, that becomes a challenge, and that's something that we look to assist with. We do that through our County Connect program. We're also working with SECOA, the Central Indiana Council on Aging, right now to expand the voucher program, which helps to defray the costs for those folks who need to cross county lines for transit. We also run the local rideshare program, which is called Commuter Connect, and I did give you a good deal of information in the orange folders that are in front of you. Through that program, we assist, again, employers to get workforce to them, as well as employees who either have a need or a desire to share a ride to get to work. It also helps to reduce the number of cars on the road. One of the big programs with that is our van pool program. And Hamilton County has been pretty active as far as participants in our van pool program. We have a total of 26 van pools in the region. 7 of those originate from Hamilton County. So they are carrying Hamilton County residents to places of employment in other areas. We also, in this past year, were very happy to be partnering with the Cellular Connection, which relocated to Carmel from Marion, and they were very concerned about losing workforce. So we assisted their workforce in setting up 3 van pools to transport Marion folks to work at the Cellular Connection. And by the way, van pools are anywhere from 5 to 15 people who commute together to work in a vehicle that we work with third-party providers to make available. We use grant dollars to help defray the costs of those vans. We also match people up for carpooling and even bike buddies for those people who might want to get to work by riding a bike, but they're a little concerned about doing that on their own and they'd like to do it with somebody else. Another benefit that comes along with this program, and again, we use our grant dollars for, is a free emergency ride home benefit. You know, a lot of employers are concerned, if my employees share a ride and one of them has to go home early, does the whole group leave? This provides that assurance that at the end of the day, if they don't have a ride, they will get a free cab ride home up to 50 miles, up to 5 times a year. That is an incentive for people to be involved in our program, and again, it's something that we can provide with our grant dollars. Another way that we have worked with employers to assist them with workforce is through our workforce connectors. We have worked on setting up some shuttles to connect with existing public transit to get people to where there are centers of work. And right now we have 3 of those operating, 2 that go to Plainfield, 1 that goes to the Anson development in Whitestown. And we are constantly talking with employers and with HR folks who are struggling with getting employees to their workplaces. For example, we've had several conversations now with the service industry employers on the Meridian, Pennsylvania corridor in Hamilton County that are struggling to get enough employees to service their hotels and other places of business in that area. So I mentioned our budget. I've talked about funding or grants, and I wanted to give you a picture of what our budget looks like and how we've developed to where we are. As I mentioned, when we were created by the Indiana legislature, we were not funded. And so what was determined is those participating counties in CERTA agreed to provide a prorated share of funding to basically get us started, to kickstart us. And we call that our partner contributions. The Metropolitan Planning Organization did put in a good deal of planning money initially to get us started, but we have continued since 2008 with partner contributions to our budget. That's the only source of undedicated funding we have in our general fund. We then have federal grants to support the Commuter Connect rideshare program, as well as the County Connect program and the workforce connectors. Our county contributions that go into our general fund help to support our operating costs so that we can then support those services. We, of course, have also been part of the discussion of transit needs throughout the region, and we participate in those discussions and have been part of the regional effort to look at what does the region need and how can those needs be met. I think that's pretty much a thumbnail sketch of what CERTA is, how our funding works, how important funding from Hamilton County, along with all of our counties, continues to be for us. So I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. I'm happy to answer any questions or provide information to you as you may wish. And I also know that there are a couple other people in the room who would also like to speak about CERTA.
This would be 5 minutes, but that's okay. Are there any questions?
I have one, Ms. Kaplan, about the county contributions and how, do you have a percentage or an idea what that accounts for in federal matching or grant monies?
Well, I can tell you that our 2016 budget was about $2.3 million. Of that, $273,000 came from partner contributions. So the rest was federal and state grants. We're always looking at how we can diversify our funding. This last year, we were able to finally, after many efforts, to actually get some state grant funding also through the Public Mass Transit Fund.
So 90% of your dollars come from the federal government?
Yes, federal and state, but
Okay.
the bulk of that
So
is
basically
definitely federal.
90% is grant money?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's all I've got.
I do have one. You mentioned the counties. What, in Johnson County is currently not contributing any funding?
That's correct. Johnson County is not, although I have received information that we could be seeing some money from that area for 2017.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Other than that, we do have 100% participation in the partner contributions. Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Schwartz, I don't believe you got a folder. Would you like one?
Absolutely, I would. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else?
Evening, gentlemen. I'm Dan Cannon, live at 13387 Maryvale in Fishers, Indiana. Also represent One Zone. One Zone is a local chamber representing over 1,300 members, and majority in Hamilton County, a few outside Hamilton County, the majority within Hamilton County. I just want to take a second of your time and speak in support of CERTA. Whenever our members get together, whenever we have very many of our members get together, what the conversation a lot of times centers around is workforce. And we have a lot of great growth in this community, thanks to all of you and all the elected officials in Hamilton County and all the policies that are put forward, make this a county that businesses want to locate in, that people want to live in. So that's the good side. Kind of the bad side to that is finding employees, and many of our employers, they have trouble. They struggle, you know that, finding employees. And part of that issue is transportation, getting those employees to their place of employment. So CERTA has been a service that we've been able to refer our members to kind of help bridge that gap. That they can't totally solve all the problems out there, but they help keep the conversation going. And it just gives us an option as a chamber to refer a business that's looking for employees and how they can help transport them to, or at least give them options for transportation to their place of employment so that they can be there on a dependable basis and be a good employee for that business. So just want to show up tonight and tell you that as a chamber, we appreciate CERTA and what they've done for this community, and
Thank you. Is there any questions for?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. We're going to ask that anybody that speaks, speak in the microphone. There's a couple of our members that are having trouble hearing.
Hi, my name is Eric Donovan. I live at 9923 Worthington Boulevard in Fishers. I'm also an employee of Rolls-Royce Corporation, so I live in Fishers and I work in Marion County. And I've been a member of Commuter Connect since, I'm trying to remember the exact date, possibly 2008, and I'm just here to give you a little bit of personal experience about how good that's been for me and how I believe in the service. So in 2008, Rolls-Royce became a member, and so Rolls-Royce contributes some amount, and we get the services that Central Indiana Commuters CERTA gives through the Commuter Connect program. And I went in search of a carpool partner. So they hooked me up with another employee at Rolls-Royce, and we met down near Target one night, and it's developed a lifelong friendship. But since then, I've been in, I believe, 4 different carpools almost continuously, and each one of those has been personally enriching, and not only is it important to me to be a part of that service, as in it saves me money, but it also is good for the environment, and it's good for the community as well. About the service, the emergency ride home, I can afford a ride home, but it's nice to know that that service is available, and I actually did use it at one time. My wife's grandfather passed away. It was in the middle of the day, and so I got an emergency ride home so that I could get back to my car and back to my family so that we could be on northern Indiana and take care of the services. I wanted to give you some personal information about the service, and I'd like to see it continue in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Are there any other public comments related to the budget? Moving on, we're going to close those.
Mike Reuter's here.
On the budget? Okay, come on up, Mike.
Good evening. We've provided you an updated fiscal plan that reflects the results of the budget review process. And so, although this is just a public hearing, I did want to give you an update. We have also redirected some of the county option income tax dollars based on the direction of the council. And We have now redirected $3.6 million into the rainy day fund, $4.5 million into the highway COIT fund, and the remaining dollars then would be funding the general fund. If you would, start on page 1, and we won't go through all the pages, but I just want to touch the two highlights. Page 1, as a result of your review and direction, it may appear in 2017 that the budget is out of balance by almost $1.4 million, but that is because we are redirecting $3.6 million of the COIT revenue to the rainy day fund. And so when you account for that and you go back to page 28 in the fiscal plan, which combines the COIT fund and the rainy day fund and the general fund, you'll see that the budget is in balance by slightly less than $2 million. So your budget for 2017 as it stands right now is a balanced budget, and so you can feel good about the process that you went through. I've also provided you an updated page 27. This is new in your fiscal plan. At the last meeting, Mr. McKinney had requested that we include in there the special COIT distribution that was allocated for highway funding. If you recall, we received a special distribution as a result of this legislative session, and 3/4 of that distribution had to go to a special highway fund, and 1/4 went to the rainy day fund. This is the other 3/4 of the distribution, and some of it's been appropriated this year, and there is a request for $2.6 million for 17. So that is new in your fiscal plan. So if there are any other questions about the fiscal plan, I'd be happy to answer those.
At this point, I would like to make a resolution as it applies to the budget to give authorization to Mike and Robin and Dawn, our auditors, to adjust the CCD fund so that the county's portion of property tax remains flat going forward into 17 rather than dipping a few cents, parts of a cent. It stays a flat, and they can do that by adjusting the CCD when they get further information. So if we authorize them to do that at the time they get the information, rate will be exactly the same as 2016.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
That's a long
second.
motion.
Second.
Mr. Beaver, a resolution has been prepared for your budget meeting on October 17th.
Yeah, they could.
To that effect, Mr. Reuter and I worked on that for you at your budget meeting.
Okay, so we could adopt it then?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I prepared that for you and sent it to the auditor, and I believe it'll be in your packet for your October 17th meeting.
Okay, then-
exactly to that effect.
Then I will withdraw with the idea that you guys know that's coming, and that will authorize them to make
I'll
that
withdraw,
adjustment. And our rate will stay flat.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
And I will make a slight revision to the fiscal plan and send you an updated version for your adoption, so that it will adjust some.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
I'm not sure if the library is part of this public hearing. Is there a separate public hearing for the library? Same. I apologize, this is a bit unique, but I'd also like to share with you something unique this year that you've not had to approve in the past, and that is the Hamilton East Library is going through what is called a binding review process. The Finance Committee was invited to the library to hear the library's request, but there is a unique statute that applies only to libraries in that if their budget is going to increase more than what's called the 6-year non-farm personal income factor of the state, they must go to the appropriate fiscal body then to have their budget approved. And so this year, as a result of the special session that occurred, you received a special distribution for your rainy day and highway COIT funding, but they also received a special distribution slightly more than $2 million. That is great news for the library. The unfortunate part is because of this law that exists that limits their appropriation, not their levy. They have a maximum levy as well, but it limits the amount they can even appropriate without going to the appropriate fiscal body. And so in order to spend those dollars, they have to seek the appropriate fiscal body approval. And so much like solid waste and the airport authority, that's part of your budget process. You would be asked to approve the library budget for 2017 as well. So you should all have a copy of a fiscal plan that looks very similar to your fiscal plan in your documents. The Finance Committee has heard the plans from the library. They have actually been in the planning process for quite some time now to do some construction projects between the two facilities. They have a facility in Noblesville and a facility in Fishers to the tune of about $4 million. They have the cash. This isn't a question of them raising property tax. This is a matter of you as the council approving their budget rates and levies this year. And so that it would be, in my mind, a one-time process. They shouldn't be back to you next year. Carmel Library, on the other hand, won't be coming to you because their fiscal body is actually the city council, but because Hamilton East represents multiple jurisdiction, it comes to the county council. That's the reason they would be seeking approval from you. As I mentioned, that there is, I apologize, forgot to introduce some folks that are here. I'm sorry, Chris Jeters from the library board is here, Edra Waterman, the library director, is here, and Robin Neal, the treasurer, are all here as well for any questions you might have. I apologize, I skipped a step and didn't know quite where we're going to fit this in. But even as with my forecast right now, even with this request, with now knowing the certified assessed valuation, it's anticipated that the library tax rate will decrease 0.62%. So again, this isn't asking you to raise taxes or approve a bond. This is simply requesting you to approve their budget, which also includes a $4 million appropriation for construction projects.
Mike, is that going to be on the 17th that we would
So
officially do?
it is a public hearing on their budget tonight as well. And then when you adopt your budget, like you would solid waste and airport authority, you would make that part of your adoption.
Thank you.
So, and if you have any specific questions about their funding, I'd be happy to try and answer those.
Both Paul and I met with the members of the library board and the staff, and it seems like a well-thought-out plan, and they have the money, so I'll be in support of that when we get around to it.
As well as myself.
No further questions? I'll sit down. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. At this time, we'll close the public hearing. Make a motion to approve minutes of the regular session on September 7th. Is there a motion?
So
We're
moved.
going to open the regular meeting. Go ahead. So moved.
Number three.
Oh, I'm sorry. Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Paul Ayers. It's my first time doing this.
You're doing a great job so far. No, you're serious. I'd like to bow your heads for just a moment. Heavenly Father, we'd like to thank you once again for the wonderful privilege of living in this country where while we may not always agree, we can always look to you for guidance. We'd like to thank you once again for the way you've blessed our county here, for the benefits and the privilege of living here in freedom and have blessed us so much. We ask you to give us wisdom tonight to make just and fair decisions for all those that we represent here. And we know that we come here to serve and not to be served. But ask you to continue to bless all those that protect us here and overseas, especially those in our military and those first responders here in our county. If you'd like to add something to your personal prayer to yourself from your own heart, it might take just a moment to do that. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, is there a motion?
I will make a motion
All right.
to,
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Is there a motion to approve the hearing notes on September 14th?
So moved.
second,
All those in favor? Aye. Is there a motion to approve the executive session memoranda on October 5th, 2016?
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And now we'll open up the meeting for public comments for anything that's on the agenda tonight.
Hi, my name is Eric Morris. It's not actually on the agenda tonight. It's something that happened on July 6th. On July 6th, your body approved an additional $70,000 for the highway fund for infrastructure, and my understanding it was for the Monon Trail and 106th Street intersection crossing, a signalized crossing of there. So you approved that on July 6th. I'm not sure if you remember that or if you know the specifics of that. And so I've been working on this issue since I moved to Hamilton County in 2012. In 2014, I contacted my commissioner, Christine Altman. In 2014, the county highway department sent me a letter that the commissioners approved, saying that this was something that we think should be studied, or it was studied and we think it should occur. So after a couple of years, finally it came to your body, so it was ready to go, essentially, is what the traffic technician told me, once you approved the funds. So that was in July. Here it is, October 6th. I've talked to him a couple of times, and subsequent to July 6th, everything was still go, 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 and he thought it would actually be built in this construction season. He's told me in the last several weeks that forces outside of his office have now stopped that process. So something that your body approved on July 6th has now been stopped, and it's outside of his highway department. So I've contacted Commissioner Altman, I've contacted the city of Carmel, and I haven't really gotten an answer on what is stopping the process of potential. It's not going to be built, this crossing, this pedestrian crossing this year. But my question for your body is, and I've tried to ask this question of Commissioner Altman, is if funds are approved by you and the appropriate administrative department, the highway department in this case, still thinks the project's viable, who has the power or authority legally to stop it, I guess? A force outside of that office. Would it be an individual council member? Would it be an individual commissioner?
Where was it at?
It's at 106th Street and the Monon Trail.
And what are we supposed, I'm sorry.
It's that Hawk.
The Hawk system, correct.
Light, when you're approaching.
Right.
On the Monon, you hit a button and it'll stop or
Yeah.
flash lights as you go east and west on 106. Eric, to your question, I mean, it could be a commissioner, it could be a highway, it could be.
Well, the highway has told me it's not them.
Certainly not us.
So if it's not you, so if I had called, so let's say Commissioner Altman called and said, you should stop this project. If I had just called and said you should stop the project, would that have the same legal authority? Does she have legal authority to do that is really my question, under our system of government.
It could be an engineering issue.
I talked to the engineers, and it sounds like it sounds like a seed was planted to re-coordinate with the city of Carmel, which had occurred previous to your approval. It sounds like the home place annexation fight is what Commissioner Altman told me on the phone was the problem. But the weird thing about that is you approved the funds on July 6th. The court case was decided in June, and the home place residents have already filed an appeal, and the Carmel is counter-appealed before your.
Yeah. But we don't, honestly, we don't have an answer for that. Where's Dan Stevens? Okay, Dan, do you have any answer for this at all? Yeah.
And I've tried to avoid the person in the traffic department or the highway department isn't great. He hasn't suggested there's anything nefarious, so I wasn't trying to put him on the spot.
Okay.
I figured, yeah. And I have
Dan Stevens with the represents the Board of Commissioners. Go ahead, Dan.
That was a long walk from the back of the room.
Sorry, Dan.
Come up here and say, no, I don't have an answer, but I'll be more than happy to check into it and get an answer.
Okay, he'll take your information. We approved it. We don't have anything else here right now on that.
Okay, so,
Okay.
and nobody knows whether legally just an individual or a individual commissioner can stop a project? I'm just trying to figure out what the legal basis is, if there is a legal
The
basis.
commissioners are the one that signed the contract, and so they would be the ones that
So
could
it does have to go back to the commissioners after your approval?
Yeah.
Okay.
For a contract, yeah.
Okay.
We either give them the money or we don't.
Right, you gave them the money, and then,
So,
okay, then,
Once we do that, it's on
okay.
to the next
Okay.
body.
Dan will help
I got
you.
you.
Dan can help you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you,
coming.
thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Okay, public comments are closed. We can move on to committee and officer reports. President's not here. I am the vice president, and under my officer report, I just would like to amend the agenda to include voting on legal services tonight.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed?
I am.
Okay. And with that, I am also going to make a motion to accept the contract from Masalamani and Jeter for our 2017 legal services.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. Congratulations. Highway, anything from the Highway Department, Rick? We didn't
No,
meet today.
we did
Okay.
not have a meeting, no.
Finance, guys?
Yeah, we, Finance Committee met today. Most of it was going over what Mike Roeder just laid out for us there. And so I don't think there's any new information. Go ahead, Rick.
Two items. We had discussed what Steve Schwartz had asked us to do, talk about the vendor financing of the jail or criminal justice building. And from the information we have, Steve, we think the county's in a good enough situation that we wouldn't need to take advantage of it. But once we decide if we want to look at it further, but right now, the three of us, Finance Committee, thought that it wasn't anything we wanted to pursue.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. And do you want to cover that last thing on the contract? And not anything under contract. Under contract will go back to the general fund
Oh, yeah,
at the end of the year.
yeah, it was under Highway COIT. Funds that are not encumbered and not expended in the Highway COIT fund at the end of the year would revert back to the general fund and not back into Highway COIT again. If they're not encumbered and they're sitting there and there's not you have to have a project to encumber it. But any leftover monies for this year or previous years that are not spent and are unencumbered will go into the general fund. That's it. That's all.
Okay, personnel?
We'll address some of those issues just a little bit later in our agenda.
Okay, anything under miscellaneous?
I have
Oh,
nothing.
go ahead, Steve.
I have nothing. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd really like to thank the Hamilton County Tourism. I made a little comment, like it's a payoff, but I'd just like to thank, this is really nice.
What is it?
Well, I was joking, but this is really swell. I mean, this is really super. I appreciate it, because I was looking for something like this. So thank
Hamilton
you.
County Bicentennial.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really nice.
They've
Thank
asked
you.
us to wear these lapel pins.
Yeah, it's nice.
Very nice.
State's bicentennial. Right? State's
That
bicentennial.
it under miscellaneous?
Sure. Any unfinished business? Okay, move on to tabled business. Do we need to untable anything? Are we voting on anything there? Nope, okay. Moving on to new business.
Wait a minute,
Okay, approval of vendor claims.
wait a minute. We're not taking tab A off or any of the rest of this under tabled? Yeah, B through K. Are you leaving all that table?
You have anything you want to untable? Unless there's something somebody wants untabled.
Okay.
All right. moving on.
Fred, I would like to, if we can, I might suggest that we go
Okay,
back
yeah.
on our agenda to number 4, where it says hearing notes, September 14th. That's all we approved. We do need to approve September 15th as well.
Make a motion.
I will make that motion.
Seconded.
What we
Second.
did, no? Yeah,
We did the
Right.
hearing notes, but it was only for the 14th.
right.
He didn't,
Except they're under hearing notes.
I saw it, but his motion was only for the 14th.
Okay, well, the motion's been made.
Okay. Got a second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Great,
I just want it for the record.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Approval of vendor claims.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Resolution 10-5-16-01, a resolution of the Hamilton County Council regarding procedural rules.
Yeah, I want us to adopt a revision of the resolution that we passed last month.
Okay,
Our attorney has worked on it a little bit more and got some wording more acceptable to what the real intent was. So this will be the October version, and I ask that we adopt the October version of the resolution.
It's just clarification kind of language.
Spells out exactly what we were asking.
Is that your, I was just, Janet,
Yes,
is that?
Mr. Ayers, what we did was we kind of tweaked this and made it more specific that the council wants to see all initial requests for commitment of county funds pursuant to an interlocal, where the interlocal is generated by the county.
Right, only thing that I was interested there is an interlocal that is generated or produced by the county. If our cities like Fishers or Noblesville brings an interlocal and wants us to sign it, it can go like it does now to the commissioners first. Only way all this has to do with is if something we generate an interlocal, council gets to see it before it goes to the second or third party.
okay.
And this wording kind of clears that up.
It does. I think it does.
So I make that motion for this revision.
We have a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Item C, grant employees, Ali?
Is there something in our packet that is related no? Okay, thank you.
For the resolution?
No, for what this?
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Ollie.
Evening. What I'm asking you for this evening is, we have a new position, a description which has been approved by Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, and graded out as a Pat B. We also, the Department of Corrections is making available for pretrial a grant of $200,000 in 2017, and this will be a continuing grant. It's not a one-time grant, so it will continue on into the foreseeable future. And we had previously received from the Judicial Center a grant of $83,000. And what I would like your permission to do is that when we receive the $200,000 from the Department of Corrections, we combine that with the 83 that we already have, and that will give us enough money to hire 3 full-time employees. They would have a minimum starting salary of $40,427, and when you add in benefits to that, it comes up to $76,811. And so 3 employees would cost us $230,433. That's assuming they all have family benefits. The last time I talked to you about pretrial, I know a lot of you had some questions and concerns about the pretrial program, and I explained to you at that time that we were kind of running it on a shoestring currently, that it was just a very minimal effort at pretrial. And I didn't have some real good answers for you at that time about the time people spend at the jail. And I know that some of you had received concern from some of your constituents that because of the pretrial program, individuals were being held in the jail an inordinate length of time. And so I wanted to be able to, in conjunction with this request, just briefly explain to you kind of what's going on here. So I've given you some actual numbers from the jail, and I'm not going to read this to you, but I think when you look through this, you'll be able to see that you can't get somebody in and out of the jail in 15 minutes. It just doesn't happen. And depending upon their circumstances, if they come in, they're under the influences of drugs or alcohol, it can take days, literally. And so on the back side of this memorandum I've given you is actually the chart that the jail uses based upon an individual's blood alcohol count as to how long that person sits to dry out before they can do anything with them. And so you'll notice that in an extreme case there, it can be over 24 hours.
Ollie, which one is the legal drunk or the one you get arrested for?
What blood alcohol level?
Right.
I'll defer to Judge Sturdivant, he's the expert, or the prosecutor, they're both experts in that area.
0.08?
0.08.
So 0.01, nobody would get arrested for that, right? Thank you, that's all.
The issue for the jail, obviously, is they don't want to let anybody out and risk any liability.
Well, a minor, what about a minor? A minor that's 0.0, right? They would hold a minor even though he's under 0.08.
Driving, but a minor could be arrested for illegal consumption if they have any alcohol in their system.
Okay.
But if they're driving, I believe that's the.
Okay. Thank you.
I brought all my backup this evening. I have the judge here, the prosecutor, and the jail commander. So I didn't want to wing this on my own and give you guys the wrong answer.
Okay, Ollie, on these employees that you're asking for with the grant money, they will be given the regular grant employee.
Yes, they will.
To, right?
Absolutely.
You are employed by a grant.
Absolutely.
If the grant goes away, your job.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, Ollie, just a quick question. So, again, with these 3 full-time people will be able to get out quicker? Is that what I'm reading on this page?
Yes, we will be able to assess more people, and we will be able to assess them in a more timely manner. However, this is still not the ideal. We actually need 6 full-time people to run this pretrial release program the way it should be run. And so even with 3 full-time people, we'll still be augmenting it with some effort from probation officers and from community corrections officers. But we'll be up light years ahead of where we are currently.
It must be working a little bit smoother because I haven't had any calls in the last 30 days.
Well, I think I think the word is getting out to certain people that hyperbole is not serving their cause very well.
Thank you.
And so back to the beginning, all I'm asking for this evening is your consent that when we get the grant money, that we can go ahead and, without further delay, hire these people. I wouldn't expect that this is going to happen much before the first of the year.
I'd make a motion to allow Ollie to do that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you. Okay.
And Dawn, will we see any of those job descriptions?
It is the same job description for all positions. They are all screeners, analysts, and I will make sure you all get a copy of that job description. It's shift work. They're going to work on 3 8-hour shifts so that we will have 24/7 coverage.
And who sets their wages?
Well, the job description had to be whatever Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy does, and then they're the ones who say what the position grades out at.
Okay.
And they graded it out as a Pat B, and that's why the minimum starting salary is $40,422.
Okay, so you've been to HR?
Yes.
and You got their nod?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Why didn't we get anything in writing, so we could just kind of follow along with the job description, what you presented here? And
Well, I will take the blame for that. I didn't think you would be all that interested in reading the job description.
No,
But
the hose, where the money's going, how the grants, like normally we do here, yeah.
Again, I'll take the blame for that. I probably should have prepared another memo for you just to outline all of that.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to provide that after the fact, so to speak, if you all would like that.
In the November is fine, the packet. from
Okay.
the-
That way we have it on record.
Thank you, Ollie. Okay, moving on, item D, 1,000 County General Fund, Board of Commissioners requesting, looks like a transfer. Does anybody,
Yeah, I met with Dan Stevens. This has to do with transferring money to buy some vehicles for the county. I've been through the list with him. It all looks legitimate. I would make a motion, we accept this.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. D2 ISS, repairs and maintenance, operating supplies.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item E, COA Distributed Shares Fund 1. First one is judicial services in the amount of $6,000, it looks like. Is there a motion?
3,000.
That's 3,000 twice, though.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
EMA transfer of funds, COA distributed funds, looks like, transfer.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Sheriff, amend to 144.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Wait a minute, excuse me, wait a minute.
You want discussion? Okay. Go ahead. Got the
It's a
floor.
lateral transfer, somebody's getting paid above minimum and a promotion.
Right. I'll try to make this brief, and you'll have to stay with me on this. Bob Chandler retired as our civil process server. He was a poll I, and that's the same as our correction officers, along with our courthouse staff. Well, we had one of our courthouse staff, security, who would like to take his position. That opened up. One of our sergeants in the jail wanted this position that opened up, so he's going to take a demotion. Now open up a sergeant's position in the jail, which we did have a process, we have a person to fill that at the proper pay scale for that. And then that opened up a correction officer's position at
Is
the
this
minimum salary.
deja
So-
vu all over again, or did we talk
Yeah,
about
but
this?
this does sound
Yeah,
familiar.
I don't know if we've talked about it here, we did it personnel, but it's,
Well, I'm looking at the paperwork, and it says Tom Rogers. Was that the gentleman who retired? That we had?
no, Tom Rogers is our courthouse security officer.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
there's
not-
also a Tom Rogers who did retire
The
as
animal
an animal
control.
control.
That's
correct.
not the same.
No.
Okay, okay.
His name's Chris.
Right.
His real name is Tom.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Long history, but that's no new money.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. LEPC, item 1152,
Transfer fund.
yeah, transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and we have auditor ineligible homestead fund under item G. Transfer request, purchase agenda builder software.
So moved.
I like this. This is good. Going to buy some new software.
Is there a second?
Second.
Now, is there any discussion?
I like it. It's good.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Robin, was that part of that demonstration that I came to that one day? So you guys are going to go ahead and purchase that? Or part of it, or the whole thing?
This is just this is for the entire.
Good deal. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All righty. Item G, well, that we just voted on that one. This will be item H, Parks and Recreation Fund transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Statewide E911 Fund.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. No bond Series A proceeds, item J.
Were you doing both of them?
Doing both together if you
There
want.
was two, yeah, there was two.
Oh, was there?
My motion was for both.
Two ayes.
My second was for both.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we're at the
Okay.
J. Okay.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
All those
Is
in-
Wait a minute,
this,
whoa,
is
whoa,
this for the courthouse?
Pay an invoice to RQAW, it says.
Yeah. For what?
Courthouse expansion,
Is it?
Are you sure?
what it shows.
I don't see that.
It says right here. Justification
Oh,
to pay an invoice
is
to
it-
RQAW.
Yeah. Mark, I'm sorry. Can we ask you a question, Mark? It says Geo Bond Series A proceeds, and it's to pay RQAW.
$90,000?
I was going to say, I don't know what it is.
I apologize. I just thought RQAW that you guys, so.
No. Dan, do you know what it is?
Dan knows everything.
Well, I was going to say he usually does.
Mario, get an answer.
Usually does.
Whose signature is on there? Oh.
Ooh. That's evidence there.
I just assumed it was.
I wonder if it's for 270. Is it for
No, no, no.
270?
It's 2013 bond series.
Recall, the bond issue was all put into one line item. This is, I believe, this is an amount of money to pay RQAW to supervise the video camera upgrade project. It's out of the same bond issue,
the
but it
jail.
had to be transferred to a different line item.
Okay, I understand what you're
Professional
talking about. I have talked to the jail.
Security cameras over in the
Talking
jail
about
that they're doing
yeah.
an upgrade on.
Do we have a motion on that?
We do.
Yeah, we do.
But I'm still unclear. Is it for their consulting for the
No,
new
it
video?
it was to implement the video at the jail, right?
It's to write all the documentation required for the bidding process, and then to supervise the project once it comes online, as far when the equipment gets installed, to make sure it's installed properly, to review the documents, the inspections that are needed.
Right. $90,000? I'm just saying, really?
Large project. 2 buildings down here, 3 buildings out at the corrections campus.
Huh. Wow. Okay.
Master plan for the 4 general obligation bond issues you did about 3-4 years ago.
Right,
Video
right.
upgrade process was part of that.
Right, but I never saw $90,000 for consultant fee, that's all. I know what the fee, it was like $1 million for the upgrade. Like, how much more?
We're in the bidding process, so I'm not going to
Okay.
tell you what the full
Okay.
budget was.
Okay, all right, thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, wait, Youth Assistance Program, amend the 144.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion?
You were up to speed on that, weren't you, Rick?
Yes, and I think Trish is here, and also Brian Zager from Westfield's here.
Okay,
So-
you want to give us the short story?
I'll move to approve.
We already have a motion and a second.
Apologize, thank you.
Any questions?
Wait,
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Good evening. The short story is we would like to hire a part-time, 28-hour-a-week maximum employee that will be funded completely by Westfield Youth Assistance, Inc. So
So
that,
it's going from the school to the city and then to you, is that the process?
so the
Or is it the city then the
nonprofit,
school?
the nonprofit will pay for this position, but it will, for 2016, the $3,884 that we'll need to pay to have that person employed will go from the nonprofit to the county. In 2017,
No.
we'll have to do the interlocal.
I apologize, Tricia. I spoke to Brian today, I spoke to the auditor, and it was supposed to go from the non-for-profit to the city. We were going to accept the city's money.
That's fine. We can do that as well. It was my understanding that didn't go into effect until 2017.
So our
The interlocal.
interlocals with the city, is that what you're saying,
Right.
Rick? Okay.
And again, just for the clarity of the paperwork and the paper trail, when I spoke with the auditor's office, that's all. So it may be doing it before 2017, but that was their preferred way.
Okay.
And Brian indicated he thought it was okay, that you could do that.
And if I may, Mr. Glenn, interject, this was the request that Mr. Doffett came in front of you for a few months ago, and that's when we kind of stopped, revisited the Youth
Right.
Assistance Program, and then Mr. Doffett did not return for that. That request wasn't put back on the agenda, but this is what that is. It's the follow-up to that.
I believe it was
Good enough.
May of this year that
That was
he
several
here.
months ago.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you.
vote.
No, we have not voted.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're a gem, Rick, you really are. All right, now, immunization grant, it's moving unused money from part-time salaries, professional services, health
So-
department.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Community corrections grant, Ralph is not able to attend, but he put an email in here.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's amendment 144 for the community corrections grant.
So moved.
This is what we just did, isn't it?
Yeah.
One was transfer of funds, the other's to amend it.
This
Great.
to amend, yes.
Okay.
There's a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we move on to open the public hearing for additional appropriations. See no comments, we'll move on. Sheena Randall, Hamilton County General Fund requesting $14,000.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna have lunch.
Okay, Hamilton County Airport Authority Fund requesting $81,443.
There's a
There's two
few
sheets.
airport things here. Brad Coase is gonna come up and give us the short rundown on that.
Okay,
There's two sheets here, right?
yeah.
Good evening. So with the theme being the short version, I'll jump right into it. There were three things before you tonight, and didn't want to have those come before you without without background. The first item is with respect to the operating fund, 1023. Those items are broken down. There are two sub-requests, if you will, that comprise that request for the operating fund. They are, the first being to fulfill agreements contractually with Montgomery Aviation, both past and present. And then the other item is a transfer with respect to grant funding in the past, reimbursement and things from the FAA. The items under 1025, our capital fund, we've had an unfortunate, since August 6th, we've had a pothole / washout, as our engineer calls it, open up in our taxiway. That was an unfortunate, unbudgeted expense that we were told to forecast at about $20,000 to repair. So we're proceeding with that with your approval this evening. And then the last item is both that span 1025 and then 1031 are with respect to FAA grant funding. So part of that is our state and local match. The remainder of that is the FAA's portion, 90% coming from the state, and then 4% coming from the state of Indiana, 6% locally. That is for land acquisition, phase one design of our wildlife fence, and that concludes those items comprising those three different accounts.
This is really just a question. Our contract previously wasn't with Montgomery Aviation, it was with Dan and Andy Montgomery as persons? I'm just, is that right? Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Yes, all three.
You're going B and C on this, you're saying? Because there was two on B.
Yes. all
B,
three.
C, and D, okay.
B, C, and D.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. And,
Thanks, Brad.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Community Corrections Project Income Fund requesting $41,387 to close out fund for fiscal year 2015-16.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Community Transition Program Fund requesting $225.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Guardian Ad Litem Fund reduction in GLA CASA grant appropriation due to decreased grant funds received from the state for the
So
program.
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we have the Community Correction Grant Fund for $19,237.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we will close the public hearing. And anything from the sheriff today?
Yes, I'll be brief. We had two major events last month that took place, the BMW Championship, Crooked Stick Country Club, well-attended. The weather hit us early in the first couple of days, but we got through it, and we were complimented by the Western Gulf Association as one of the best organized and managed events by the law enforcement personnel, so we're appreciative of that. And also, the Atlanta Earth Festival took place, 100,000 strong. Everything went well, it was well organized, and everything went safe. And my last thing, because I know Sheriff Bowen will not say anything about this, he's a very humble individual. He was selected as the 2017 Indiana Sheriff's Association President. He's the first president of Hamilton County as a sheriff to receive that, so.
We will have to remember to
Congratulations.
congratulate him when he gets back.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the name.
Sheriff Bowen.
Oh, okay.
He's going to be there.
That's great. Anything from our council attorney?
Mr. Glad, my only announcement was covered earlier with the 2017 tax rate resolution that I prepared. I don't have anything else.
Thank you. Madam Auditor?
Just a reminder, final adoption for budgets are that's Monday, and we'll send out a reminder.
Thank you.
I have a couple items. Don't adjourn.
Mr. Vice President,
Yes.
I wanted to follow up on what the sheriff had to say and remind, I think you all know, but remind everybody what a total county effort the BMW golf outing was. We had Parks Department people parking cars. There was airplanes flying into our airport, gassing up, which we get a kit at the public safety. It was just a total, I think, effort by a lot of county employees and to make that a success. And there's a lot of people behind the scenes doing a lot of work, county employees and city employees. And I just think it was a total county effort to make that a success.
Great.
I wanted to go back and perhaps untable a couple items, if I could. Item B, it was Barry, the Health Department,
Yeah.
and D were the two items for that had to do with that environmental health specialist that we had, I believe, talked about and said that we thought would be good to
Right.
have.
Okay.
Okay?
So I'd make a motion to
Second.
untable.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now,
Make a motion to approve the same,
Second.
B and D.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anything else?
Okay. And then also C and E with the unsafe building. But we could go ahead and untable those. They can have the money to
Second.
tear those down. I'll make the motion, you second, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And then I make a motion to approve C and E.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Anything else?
Thank you.
All good? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.